What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the GamerDad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So today we're going to be discussing some strategies that I think will be very helpful for people playing these new legendary modes, especially if you're playing with a random match-made group of individuals. That is, you're not with your team members, you're not playing with people that you know, and you just randomly match-make, no comms, nothing. These are some strategies that would definitely help when you're running this mission. So one of the things that I actually mentioned, and I spoke about this in my last video, was I felt this legendary was tuned very differently. Some agents took that to mean, oh, you don't know how to play the legendary missions, so you're whining. And I laughed and I said, well, I could enlighten them, but I guess I'll just let them continue to dwell in their, little weird thinking about not being able to play these legendary modes. And I just decided in many cases to ignore those comments, because if we went back and looked through maybe my catalog of videos, you'd be very surprised the work that I actually have done with these legendary missions. And I enjoy them very well. I like them, except for this particular one for some reason. Now, one really big thing that you'll notice is there's not a lot of patience when you're playing with match-made groups. Sometimes you find patient people that are actually playing with a lot of strategy. They're playing wisely. They're taking their time. But in some cases, or in most cases, it's not necessarily going to be the case. You're probably going to have to send, little group messages saying, hey, man, can we calm down? Can we be patient? And I think that patience is the very first thing. A lot of folk want to rush, and I'm not dogging on anyone. I'm just saying that many times it's one of those things. But here's the thing about this particular, or, the legendary modes that you're seeing is the cover system, especially in the Manning National Zoo, is absolutely just not really there. You're placed in very weird positions for the entire mission. It's like Roosevelt, but it's worse, because Roosevelt's one of the legendary missions that actually exposes you and your team in many circumstances. But you do have one thing: you have distance, and that's how you beat Roosevelt every time. You just use the distance and the space. You don't necessarily always rush, because every time you advance, the game designs it where the enemies will actually spawn sometimes on top of you. Some of you know this. The enemy NPCs that spawn from the chopper, if you push too far in and you destroy those ones in that arena, they spawn again to kind of keep you guessing. And so you see something similar to this in Manning National Zoo, and so you need patience for your team. The very next thing that you need is the right build. And when I say the right build, in quote, I'm talking about you pretty much putting yourself in a position where you have a build that can actually do the work. I remember in this particular mission that you're seeing on the screen, and it's none of these agents here, actually. We had an agent basically join our group, because after a while, 2 of these agents left. I think they just got tired because they just kept, dying. I mean, they just probably were getting used to it. This was played a while ago, so I can understand, people getting used to the new system. And this agent came in with like this build, and it was a gun build. And we said, hey, man, one of the best ways that we can beat this, we sent a message and we said, just put on a skill build. And they replied and said, one of the things that I do, and they replied and said, I don't run skill build except in support. I kicked them. I didn't even bother saying anything, because when you're playing these legendary modes, there is a context for using your gun builds. And I feel like if everyone's trying to still understand and figure out their team dynamic, in you bringing out your gun and then getting downed every time, or not being able to deal damage, because these enemy NPCs continue to rush you. They have grenadiers, they have, people that will heal. And so your gun builds will more than likely be limited, because you've just blown all that ammo, taking down one enemy NPC. And guess what? The medics have come again and have rezzed everyone. At that point, maybe you're down on ammo. Maybe you still have to take the same risks you took again by getting out of cover and trying to destroy them. And so in that scenario, it's not as easy. Not saying it's impossible to go with gun builds. Those who solo this mode, they usually run their gun builds, but that's in a different context. While you're a team, you have the opportunity to be able to deal more damage and the opportunity to be able to stay alive longer, which is definitely something that you need. Not everybody has the skill level to solo or play like coordinated groups. And if you're playing with people that are in random groups, it even makes it much difficult. So having the right build and having patience is a very, very big deal. The final thing that I think would definitely help you if you're going in as a strategic methodology is you're actually, building in a way that complements everybody else. I always throw this out there for every single legendary mission, and I'll probably try my best to do a deep dive into each individual one in regard to these two that just got released, because I haven't beaten Tidal Basin just yet. I will probably destroy it, but I'm just taking my time. I mean, I've been enjoying, this Manning National Zoo now better because I've been playing with, my friends and my clan, and so that's actually much better. I mean, just playing with a group of random folk really did unnerve me a little bit. Not because I don't like playing, legendaries with random folk. I actually enjoy doing that because it's a better challenge. Let's see how we can do without saying a single word to one another. I enjoy that challenge. But I think it's just having something that complements your entire team. Usually in these legendary modes, you're going to see that there is a way that you get to play. If you get to some of the different areas, you need a tank to actually help you. In fact, in our group, we have, one of the best tanks that I've ever seen. And I'm sure, our clan members are going to basically get that build out to the community that that our tank uses to tank. And I can tell you that, with that build, it really does change the game. We also very much use things like overcharge, because overcharge really takes your skills from one level to the next level. And I think this is one of the main reasons this legendary was tuned the way it is. Overcharge has become such a useful capability that if you're not using it in your legendary runs, or if you're not using it to take on enemies, you're definitely cheating yourself. So one really interesting thing that we get to see here is when you're playing these with, random, groups, the very first thing that you want to make sure is that everyone is patient enough. If you see that you're playing with a group that's rushing all the time and you're randomly match made, it might be wise for you to possibly maybe find another group, maybe leave the group and then see if you can find people that are patient, or maybe communicate and say, hey, it appears to me that, we need to probably take our time. Next thing is to have the right builds. If your build is not complementing your team, then you're not doing it right. I hope these little tips help for now. And when we do deep dives, we'll probably be getting to see a lot more. So thanks so much for watching the video. I appreciate your time and audience. Let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are regarding your strategies that you use and your team uses. So thanks so much once again, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Peace out.